Radical Imagination Project, filming creative community.
Well, my mother and father. My mother came from, she was born and bred in the Gorbals. My father, he's born and bred in Kennan Park.
That's where we are just now?
That's where we are just now. I wasn't, unfortunately, I was born and bred in Pollock, Dornanside, the old tenement building. I had a good upbringing, stable lifestyle. This says, you find like all these kind of young people say they're bored and kind of things like that. I remember back when I was a boy, we made things.
What age are you talking about?
I'm talking about as far back I can remember, it's about starting at primary school. My primary school was at Bonnyholm primary school. That was just down the hill for me. But as it says, we made kind of stuff like dens. We had a big park, Pollock Park. Don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, but probably you have. But that was our adventure playground. We'd go there basically every day in the summer. Go out play in the old mill. That was like a kind of like equivalent to Bahamas to us.
So that's the Pollock estate you're talking about?
Aye, that's the Pollock estate, Pollock Park. There used to be a big mill there, but it was like a kind of waterfall, and that was we used that as like a swimming pool. You know, as I say, go back to the kind of Pollock Park. It was quite a lot of things today.
Do you remember the road?
Oh, aye, I remember that. The protesters and kind of things like that. I wasn't part and parcel of the protesters themselves, but I was always down there. You know what I mean? We had
Must be quite exciting. What age would you have been then?
What age was I? I was about 16, 17.
That's when the Galgale eventually started. It was a protest to stop building the motorway through Pollock.
Aye. I went to a few kind of like parties and kind of things like that down there, like actually in the woods itself. You know what I mean? Done a bit of sculpting. I don't know if anybody will ever remember the tree with the face on it.
Yeah.
You know, just at the beginning. I helped to chop that tree down, and actually it was a boy. It was his name again. Rat. Well, his nickname was Rat, but his right name was John, and he actually sculpted that tree, the actual face on it. You know? And I always remember the protesters hanging for branches on bungee strips and kind of things like that. But anyway, it was heavy-handed because I always remember the security guards and the police and that. You know, they weren't caring. They were just in for it. You know what I mean? Like actually, I seen a few people getting beat up. Not talking about the police and the security guards. You know, like the people that the motorway tired. I mean, these were just kind of, to me, this guy's off the street thugs, but I earn yourself a few quid. On you go, get rid of this mob. You know what I mean? It was, it says, like, everybody I knew, especially like there was like older guys like Daz and Maz, they eventually started coming down to the place and actually protesting against it, because took half of our park away, Pollock Park.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I always remember that kind of where the motorways was running through now. That was just all farms and fields and kind of stuff like that. But then when they started like the pollution, they found out that like, say about 50% of the rains that stayed in Pollock started like asthma. You know, asthma was a big issue in Pollock at one time as well. All like chest infections, kind of like people getting sore heads and all that kind of stuff with the dust and industrial like diesel and all that kind of heavy duty tractors not moving in. The place was always like a kind of mist about the place. like floating mist, you know, like dust and all that. As I say, that was a big problem with people getting chest infections and all that stuff. But back to, like, say, the encampment itself, I mean, they were a good kind of bunch of people. They were down to earth. We used to go down, take stuff to them, like, just say stuff to eat, kind of stuff like that, you know. And then used to have wee parties. Even I always remember one time they even hired a reggae band for Birmingham. They actually came down. They were good. I can't remember what their name was, but it was all kind of big Rastafarian boys, you know, and they stayed over. They actually stayed overnight in one of the tents, you know what I mean? And until the day, what I can remember is, like, basically, as it says, the day when they moved in, like the polish and that was just, there was no need for it, you know what I mean? No need for it at all. You know what I mean? It was lucky there was nobody killed, put it that way.
Yeah, I don't know whether if you look at the videos, even things like the baths, Govan Hill baths, you look at the old footage when the cops moved in and the mounted horses and helicopters and stuff, unbelievable. You know, when you think, this is a community baths we're dealing with here, people try to keep a, I think it was a war.
No, people.
I mean, they were just wading right in there, quite violent.
As I say, like the protesters, not once did I see any violence out of any of them. You know what I mean? It was all peaceful. You know, even when the police did move, and it's just like the baths kind of situation, they did have horses and that, helicopters, big vans waiting outside, because they knew they were just going to jail people for no reason at all.
Yeah.
But because they changed themselves to a tree, kind of stuff like that, put yourself up in a couple of branches. You know what I mean? As it says, it was quite lucky there was nobody killed that day. You know what I mean?
How do you think, I mean, that was a do-it-yourself culture. Well, like a kind of working class do-it-yourself culture. It wasn't a trendy West Endy type of cultural thing. It was a pure working class thing in the community, community-led, and it was amazing. It was amazing. What do you think? How did we? What's happened that's changed that notion about that do-it-yourself? You talk to a lot of people and they're a bit pissed off about things, but there's always things to do. You know, what happened to that culture? So where do you think? I mean, there was taboos then as well.
Aye.
You know, there were certain things that you did that you wouldn't do.
They've always been around, but the biggest majority is now drugs. Drugs. That's what I find. That's what I see more and more. Younger people that I knew back when I was young, it's destroyed now. Kind of their lives are just destroyed with drugs. And I say to myself, you know what I mean? I could have been married in. You know what I mean? But I never took that road. As I say, as in, like, going back to, like, schooling, I went to Crookston High School. Wasn't really much good at anything else, but there was one thing I always remember, like, my head teacher, advice teacher in there, was that I always liked my kind of cakes and kind of stuff when we went to home economics. So he always says to me, why do you never take a career as in, like, cooking? But I never thought, I was saying to myself, oh, that's a bit sissy, no? But until when I was just leaving school, I got O-level in cooking, home economics. So I was saying to myself, right, I'm going to go down this line. So I ended up, my auntie, she had a wee kind of small cafe just running Lancross shops. It was called Betty's Cafe. And she gave us like a kind of wee weekend job in there.
Traditional cafe.
No. She gave us a wee kind of weekend job in there. Just at first like that, washing dishes and making wee pots of soup and kind of stuff like that. And then she just out of the blue one day, her pal came in. She was a kind of tutor kind of person for Reedcare College in Paisley. And she actually asked me to come along. It was an induction day. So I thought it was along. I didn't expect nothing, I mean, just here we go. And then I got a course on got hotel and hospitality. Oh, So I went for that.
What the stuff that you're doing now is more do you like what you're doing now?
Oh, aye.
More than the...
Aye, because I volunteer, I've been volunteering in the Kinner Park complex for the Thursday community meal for about 9 months now. And it's like it makes me happy. I've seen people like eating and enjoying the food that I make. You know, it's kind of hard to explain as in, like, so for somebody it's not like a cook or a chef. No, you could just put anything down to anybody and say, right, there you go, that's your dinner, and if they eat it, they eat it. But people coming up to you at the end of it and saying, oh, that was lovely and you've overdone yourself again, Alan, kind of stuff like that. Oh, that really makes me kind of, I buzz about myself, know what I mean?
Yeah, and you've worked with the integration network and different things in Govan.
I do the food bags on a Wednesday. That's I got involved with that. In fact, I was a kind of bit destitute myself because I was the sanctioned with the brew. It was just through my friend Joey up the stair from me that he says to me there was a place that it would help me out now with a food voucher plus a bag of food. And I just, ever since I went along, I got involved more and more and more, and now that I help people to get a wee bag of food and a food voucher myself now. But how things have changed, you know, it's kind of, I was kind of in their people's shoes at one time, you know what I mean, talking about as in like, I had to go, but I went along for a bit of help off you. Rachel, Owen and Isabel, and they were very nice people. So I know how it feels like to be kind of.
That's what you're talking about. That tradition that we're saying has disappeared again. That you go along, you see people, and you go for something for help, and you end up giving some help, and people start communicating.
Yeah, because we've also got a walk-in, like say, go in for a cup of tea, have a chat with whoever's like sitting about. Also involved with there's a man's group up in Moss Park community flat. Also involved in that. I got there on a Thursday. Well, no, I never went up there right now, but up there on a Thursday and I make them a pot of soup. So Big Harry, he's one of the organisers.
It's a good flat.
Aye, it's a good flat.
So what are you thinking about in terms of the future in general, or
Future?
how we coping, or how do you think what do you think we need to start doing more of?
Unemployment, poverty, it's just all these things combined into together. I mean, if we get like a government that would care about their people, you know what I mean, instead of just, I mean, I bet they're not sitting, you know what I mean, with a wee bag of messages that they've got I feel like some sort of
idea about people that care for each other.
Aye, people that care for each other.
Because, I mean, the government's never done nothing for us. Why should we expect the government to do anything for the banks? But it's us, you know, we seem to have lost that kind of notion about how we create solidarity and how we kind of like.
As I say, go back to what I says earlier on, is like when I was growing up, people cared in the community, people helped each other. You know what I mean? Now, there's people who just rather lock their doors and just lock themselves away until like morning time and then back out, and it's just the same routine every day. You know what I mean? It's not nice, because when I stay, when I stay now, I've never seen an old woman in my street. It seems to be all just young people, like, I hate saying the word, but addicts and kind of alcoholics. And I mean, there for instance, a couple of weeks ago, I found one up my close, you know what I mean, still with the thing in its arm. And that was never, because I've got grandmains that come up and do that, you know what I mean, and it's not very nice, you know what I mean. And I hate doing it, you know what I mean, but I actually just arse and necked him right at the door, you know what I mean. He's like, I'm gone, mate. But it's like, then, I mean, you shouldn't be here anyway, so why are you in my clothes? You know what I mean? And that's why I think people are scared to talk to each other, because you know what I mean, you don't know who you're going to talk to or who's going to rob you or what I'm talking about. There's no trust anywhere, no trust whatsoever. Okay, but
so what would you say is the kind of top priorities of people's worries or whatever? What's
well,
the main-
biggest people's worries are if they've got enough food to feed their veins and money. That's what I find quite a lot of people always say. I'm skint, I don't know how I'm going to feed the veins. I'll have to go starving for a couple of days to feed them, that kind of stuff.
In this day and age it's still...
Nobody should be starving.
But that's as I say, when you go back to the old days or whatever, you were never worried about starving.
No.
I mean, how could it would be possible for you to starve?
Because you had
And it also would be possible for you to be made out homeless.
because you always had like your aunties and your uncles ordering about you, that kind of stuff, like family. No, and as I say, go back to the old kind of neighbour style. You'd always have somebody in. Like, for instance, like my next door neighbour used to always go, right Jimmy, that's me in for a take of sugar. My dad was sitting in the living room and she'd been taking a sugar. Yeah, I'm away back in, right, no problem. Know what I mean? That was no problem, that kind of stuff. And people would make a big pot of soup and share it with close.
See, the trouble is, if you need to get, you know, when it becomes austerity and stuff like that, people tend to look inward, you know, looking after their own, for good reason. But that's really the time you should look outward to be getting that kind of community. Because if you're poor, you need to be inventive and you need solidarity. You can't exist without that, or you just get poorer and poorer and poorer. And everything that happens now, you know, that daughters live 10 miles away from mothers, so you can't do that care and service that you used to do up next close and stuff like that. So I suppose it's building that, it's how you get that infrastructure built in again. And then of course with government, you've got the gentrification process happening, which alienates people further as well. You know, it's like, yeah, we'll have a bridge across the Partick, and it means government people can go visit Partick or whatever, do their shopping, but it also means it makes it more accessible to the West End, which means house prices are going to go up. You know, so people tend, they don't look at, they just think, well, it's great.
Well, it's like opportunities for young people. Well, there's an opportunity for young people now. Give them wee jobs, give them wee labouring jobs. Maybe that'll sort of thing. When they're building this bridge, and the so-called isn't that they're going to do the back something govern. Well, there's a lot of young boys just standing about corners right now. There you go, they're a hard hat advisor. £100 a week, come with me. Give them wee labouring jobs. Not talking about like that, but they're doing the new with the young boys now. What they're going to do, stand at a close or a corner all day and just take drugs and drink. But there's a wee bit of initiative for you.
Too knackered.
Know what I mean? Aye. Oh, 5 o'clock, I've got to go to my bed. Know what I mean? I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So, that kind of stuff. Know what I mean? But people just see young people as like, no, wait a minute.
So what do you think are the best ideas that's happening around just now?
The best ideas?
What inspires you just now? What makes you think there's a way forward, or a kind of some hope? What gives you hope?
This place gives me a wee bit of hope. This is actually, if I never kind of volunteered or done any volunteer work, I'd be like a big couch potato. I'd be just sitting, because I get the satisfaction with it now.
Yeah.
No, I just get satisfaction as in feeding people, helping people as much as I can, and if I can solve any problems for them, I'll do it. Know what I mean?
Yeah. So I realise you've got you have to feed how many people?
What, the day?
Yeah.
I usually feed up to about 50 people a day. But I've got a funny feeling it's going to be a lot more than that because of this video's been out on Facebook.
Right.
So a lot of people will probably say to themselves, well, we'd like to come along and taste this. Know what I mean?
I've got to let you go